really good unit. From top down, just really solid. It's a tight competition to see who's gonna, start and who's gonna contribute. But like how I said, every guy in the room is good from top to bottom, and we're all making each other better.
What's stood out to you about Marquise Rascal specifically?
Now, obviously, I wasn't here in the spring, but I've heard he's made a lot of improvements, and I've definitely seen it. Just being physical, getting to the ball, kind of having a relentless motor.
Bralen, when you're at a spot that's going to be a rotation, is it motivating at all to try to be the first wave of guys out there on the field? Is that a consideration?
Yes, sir, of course. I started last year every game prior to at Ohio, so of course I would love to start here. I'm going to compete, but at the end of the day, we're all going to contribute to hit our goal.
Last year when you were at Ohio, those games against Kentucky and Syracuse, kind of the power conference games, how much did you hear from coaches in the portal that your performances against those two teams specifically helped?
We played a lot of games, so
yeah.
They kind of talked about it briefly. Now, obviously, out of the portal, I was recruited by a lot of Power 5s or Power 4s, so kind of just game speed and that the O-line and D-line's a little different, here on the level of just technique and things like that and size. So that was kind of like the big thing that everybody was kind of saying, like, we just got to get you acclimated to that.
How do you describe, like, the internal motivation of taking on a challenge, like transferring into the SEC, and what that means for you?
So out of high school, I wasn't heavily recruited. If you look it up, so kind of just like I've always had a chip on my shoulder. I've always had to prove myself. When I was younger, I was a running back, and everybody told me I was too big to be a running back. Now I'm too small to be a defensive lineman. When I got to college, I was 235, So kind of just, like, keeping that in my mind and knowing that, like, it's God's plan, so I just take it one step at a time, but definitely have a chip on my shoulder every time I step on the field.
You said when you were younger you were a running back, like, until when?
So I went from running back to tight end in, like, 6th grade. But now you got to understand, like, I played quarterback, running back, offensive line, all types of things. I kind of was, like, always a team player and kind of just filled the roles that the team needed. And so, like I said, but it was always, like, oh, maybe you're too big for this or you're too small for this position, things like that. So kind of just all throughout my career, those things I've heard.
What's too big for a 6th grade running back? Because I'm going to guess you weren't 235 at that point.
No, it's probably like 170, 175. Not bad, right?
just what? Say, like, was it a league where it's like, hey, there's a weight limit so you don't hurt the other guys, or what?
Once you kind of get in my hometown, once you kind of get to like 6th, 7th, 8th grade, there's not really a weight limit. Obviously there were a few guys that were maybe a little bigger than, what was supposed to be like our biggest guy or, whatever. So if a team had a guy that was overweight as well, it'd be the same thing. But other than that.
At what point, maybe in high school or college, you just decide, hey, look, I might be undersized for this defensive line, but I've moved around a bunch and I'm just going to go for this?
I watched Aaron Donald play. I was blessed to be from Pittsburgh and hear about him. So kind of just watching a guy like him play and kind of like growing up and watching Pitt football. I live 20 minutes away from the facility and everything. So kind of just watching things like that, kind of helped me once I got to like, okay, I know I'm going to play defensive line in college and I know I got to gain weight and stuff like that, but I knew it was possible because I've seen it done, before.
How many practices does it take, or are you still adjusting as far as like getting used to SEC practices? Do you feel like you're acclimated, or are you still getting there?
I've played a lot of ball, so I would say I think the intensity here is definitely a little bit harder, but kind of just, I like to be a student of the game, so kind of just trying to learn as quick as possible. I said I came in the summer, and just kind of as soon as I got in, Coach Blackwell and the guys in the room really harped on me learning the playbook, learning the play speed, like being quicker, getting down in my stance, things of that nature. So kind of, I've been adjusting well. I feel like I'd say maybe the first 3 or 4 practices it was a little bit tough because I've never wore knee braces. So, wearing these, you fall around a little bit here and there, but now I feel pretty good.
What are some of the primary challenges just of arriving at a program so late? Is a relatively new thing?
So I had a few guys at my old school transfer right after December, and so they got the full winter workout, understanding the team culture, and then being able to practice, you know, in game-like situations, but in spring ball. So, like, for me, coming in the summer, everybody was already so much ahead of me. So it was just a lot of, like, playing catch-up. And one thing I will say is, like, the challenge was just the time. You know what I mean? Like, you only have 24 hours in a day, but you have other things to do outside of football. You know, there was schoolwork here and there and stuff like that. So kind of just, you know, the biggest challenge was just being able to manage my time well to learn everything I needed in a fast pace.
It's not your typical D-line number, so why 81?
So I didn't play defensive line in high school till my senior year, and I wore 81, so it just stuck with me. I feel like it represents me well. It's just my brand, you know.
Time for two more.
You mentioned you feel like you were playing catch up through the summer. Do you feel caught up now?
Yeah, like how I said, I mean, the first couple practices were definitely a little tough, just the tempo and they had to adjust to the knee braces and stuff like that. But you know, I mean, I feel ready. So.
How do you feel like the D-line group has gelled over the past 2 weeks at fall camp so far?
Well, you know, me and Jason Dow are the two newest guys. He's a freshman, and they kind of just engulfed us in the room and in the culture, and like we spend a lot of time together. So kind of just having that, and then going from, so that's what fall camp is great, because even though it's all day, you know, it can be tough. You're around the guys all day, so I'm learning things about guys that I didn't know. You know, we do some like team building and team culture things where we break up into small groups and learn about other guys on the team. So kind of just overall, I mean, I feel like I've been really welcomed in, and I really appreciate it. And with the D-line, I mean, we all want to win. We all want to compete. Like, we came here for a reason. You know what I mean? This is high-level football winning culture, and that's what we're about.